Hello guys, welcome back to Life with Pauly. It is currently October 8th and it is Wednesday, and I'm back with another food stamp video, and I have an update for the people out there that are able-bodied working adults. And I will also tell you in this video when able-bodied working adults that are not working and when the homeless will lose their food stamps. So stay tuned. Now, before I start this video is not for people on SSI. This video is not for people on SSDI or getting retirement, okay? And not for the people that are working and already meeting the work requirements. If you are on SSI, if you are on disability, or you are on retirement and receiving food stamps, your food stamps will not be affected or taken away. This is for people, able-bodied working adults sitting at home and doing absolutely nothing, okay? That's what this video is for. There's been an update, and I'm going to put a link down in the description down below of a news story that just came out the other day about the new law being implemented faster than we thought it was going to be implemented. If you are an able-bodied working adult right now, and you can't find a job, or you're trying to find a job or meet the work requirements, or aren't trying to meet the work requirements, I would suggest that you get your ducks in a row now and try to find a job, or try to find means to feed yourself, because your food stamps are going to be stopping very soon. Homeless people, in the old law, homeless people were exempt from this new law. But this new law, the homeless people are not exempt from the able-bodied working adults. Now they consider homeless people able-bodied working adults unless they have a mental condition, and I will explain more about that. So, if you are receiving food stamps right now, and you can work and you don't have a child under the age of 14 years old. If you have children under the age of 14 years old, this does not apply to you. I don't know why. I think it's kind of dumb that they made it so people that had children under the age of 14 was exempt from this, because when people have children under the age of 14, like say they have a child that's 10 or 11 years old, that child is going to school. So the adult should be working. The adult can work and go out and work while that child is going to school. So I think it's kind of stupid that they didn't implement these laws for people with children under the age of 14. So that means if you have a child that's 7, 10, 11, 12, or 13, you don't have to meet these work requirements. You will still continue to get food stamps like you do uninterrupted. It's only for people with children 14 and above, which I think is crazy, because there's a lot of women out there that like to just keep on popping out kids and taking advantage of the welfare system, using social services to pay their rent, using cash assistance, using food assistance, and they're going to be allowed to continue to do that with this, even with this new law, because they're exempt from the work requirements because they got a child under the age of 14. I think that's crazy, but let's set that aside. Now, they were given states up until January to implement these new laws. That means they were given states and cities social services until January to get their systems updated and to get letters out to everybody stating that they had to meet work requirements, or of course they ain't going to send letters to people on SSI or SSDI or retirement people. Those people are exempt from the work requirements because they have a disability. They're going to continue to get their food stamps. They're not going to get cut off of food stamps. So don't worry about that. They gave the states until January to send out these letters to tell people that they had to meet the work requirements or they're going to lose their food stamps. Now, they were given states until January, but now they just upped it until November. So they want all states and cities to update their system and implement these work requirements by November 1st. That is the deadline, and I'm going to put the story down below. So what does that mean if you get food stamps and you're an able-bodied working adult and don't have a child under the age of 14? When will you lose your food stamps? When is the homeless going to lose their food stamps? Because now the homeless is also going to lose their food stamps. Some homeless, they get food stamps, and some homeless, they get these cards that they can go into, like McDonald's or a fast food place, and they can get prepared meals. Because as we all know, a homeless person doesn't have means to cook. They don't have a kitchen. So they get these monthly cards that they are able to use in restaurants or take out to feed themselves. But a lot of them get food stamps too. Now, before, homeless people were exempt from the able-bodied working adult rules, and they did not have to work. But now they are not exempt. So homeless people will be losing their food stamps. The only way a homeless person will not lose their food stamps is if they're suffering from some kind of mental condition. But the mental condition has got to be documented by a doctor, and they have to show proof of that. So the world's going to get a lot more dangerous out there, because these homeless people are going to be cut off of food stamps. They're going to be cut off of their food cards, and it's going to get wild. It's going to get dangerous for people out there with these homeless people not being able to feed themselves no more, or being able to eat. You're going to see a lot changing and a lot go wrong. Now, if you are an able-bodied working adult and you're just sitting at home and doing absolutely nothing, I would suggest you get your ducks in a row. Since they're going to implement the law in November, the new law states that if you do not meet the work requirements, you can get food stamps 3 months out of every 3 years. So you can only get food stamps for 3 months if you're not meeting the work requirements. So what does that mean? Well, they want this new law deadline November 1st. So that means people out there that are getting food stamps and they are not on disability, not on SSI, not on retirement, or don't have a doctor's note that says they cannot work, will get food stamps November, December, and January. After January, you won't get no more food stamps. They will be gone. That is when all the homeless is going to lose their food stamps also. Now, in order to be disabled, there was a lot of states and cities. The city where I'm in now, Albany, New York, they were giving waivers to a lot of people. People saying, well, I have a disability, I can't work, or I feel sick all the time, or I'm dizzy all the time, or I have a mental condition, I cannot work. A lot of states and a lot of cities were giving people waivers and just giving them the food stamps or giving them social services. Well, now with the food stamps, at least, that is not going to work anymore. You can't just go into social services or apply for food stamps and say, well, I can't work, I got a disability. You can't go into, they used to give waivers to people that went into social services also and said, well, I'm applying for disability, I got an application in for disability. That does not work anymore. You need to either be getting SSI, you need to be either getting SSDI or retirement, or you need to have a doctor's note from a physician stating you cannot work in order to receive food stamps. If you do not have that proof, you will not meet the work requirements and you will not receive food stamps, period. So, people out there that have been depending on food stamps for years and years, I suggest that you get your ducks in a row and you prioritize yourself getting a job or some kind of income to feed yourself. because after January, all these people will be cut from food stamps. There will be no more food stamps for these people, including the homeless. Now, since I got that out of the way, I wanted to say that everybody out there needs to try to keep themselves safe. They need to try to keep their family safe. I myself, where I live in Albany, New York, we have a lot of homeless. I see groups of 5, 6 homeless people walking together, pushing carts, picking up bottles. Out here in Albany, New York, yes, a lot of the homeless pick bottles. They go trash to trash. They pick bottles to buy themselves what they need, to buy themselves some food, to buy themselves drinks, and to keep themselves situated, which I think is great that they do that. But there's only so many bottles out there that a homeless person can pick up, especially when you have major homelessness in your area. So I want to suggest to people out there to be safe. Keep your family safe, because the world is going to get wild. It's going to get more violent. There's going to be more crimes. There's going to be more people stealing. There's going to be more robberies. There's going to be more killings in America because of this new law, especially with the homeless people. Like I said, they go pick bottles and trash and they beg for money. But there's only so much of that for each one of them. They're going to run out of resources once their food stamps is cut off, and they're going to get angry. Or can we say hangry? They're going to get hangry, and I believe they're going to get violent. So if you are in an area like I am with a lot of homeless people, I've had the last few days, I don't even know how many homeless people come up and ask me for money. Usually I do not give them money here because a lot of them are on drugs. A lot of them have mental issues. And besides, if you give them money once, then they keep on asking you and asking you. It's not that I don't want to help the homeless, but I get nervous around the homeless people around here because a lot of them do have mental issues. They're yelling and screaming, F you, F this. They're always fighting with each other every day. There's this one lady that comes up to me and cries and says, can you help me, sir, with some money, please? I need money. But she's always yelling at the other homeless people, swearing, saying, F you and F this. And I try to stay away from that, and I try to keep myself safe. And that's what people are going to have to do out there, especially with this new law. And after January, especially because everybody will be losing their food stamps, I suggest that you keep yourself safe. Try to stay away from those type of people. Try to stay your distance away from the homeless. I'm not saying not to help the homeless. I know there's a lot of people out there that do help the homeless. There's a lot of people on YouTube that help the homeless. They do videos. They feed them. They give them, they give them food. They give them clothing. I'm not saying don't do that, but just be very careful if you are doing that. I've seen videos where this guy, I forget his channel name, he makes food. He got a bottle of water thrown at him one time. He got a can thrown at him one time. Like a vegetable can full of vegetable, which is very heavy. He got it thrown at him one time by a homeless person. They do get attacked. So if you are one of those people that want to help the homeless, I'm not saying don't help the homeless, but be very careful and vigilant around other people, because there is a rude awakening coming for America. As soon as everybody loses their food stamps and they have to meet these work requirements, you're going to see a lot of mood changes, a lot of violence, a lot of crime, a lot of robberies. Especially with people robbing pocketbooks, robbing you on the street, rolling you for your money. My suggestion is don't go walking down the street with big gold chains on or anything like that, because you're liable to get rolled for your money. Keep yourself safe. Keep your family safe. I'm going to put a link down in the description down below for the new work requirements. They're going to implement them November 1st. That means if you do not meet those work requirements, you will not get food stamps after January. The last month you would get them would be January. So keep that in mind, guys. I would suggest that you find a job now. I would suggest that you find means to feed yourself. Anyways, guys, I'm going to go. This is a long video. Sorry so long. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe for more videos. Much love to all. Have a great day.